Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
All right, let's take it from the top again. Places. Action.
Well, let's see. We have on the bags, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know is on third.
That's what I want to find out.
I say who's on first, what's on second, I don't know is on third.
Are you the manager?
Yes.
You going to be the coach, too?
Yes.
And you know the fellow's name?
Well, I should.
Well, then who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who?
The guy playing first.
Who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
That's it.
That's who?
Yes.
Join us for another voyage back in time on Classic Radio Rewind. From adventures to westerns, from comedy to sci-fi, this is your ticket to Theater of the Mind. Without any further ado, here's your host for Classic Radio Rewind, Barry Slinker.
Thank you, Dexro, and welcome everyone to this edition of Classic Radio Rewind. I'm your weekly host, Barry Slinker, and we are going to embark on another 2-hour journey that is the golden age of radio. Coming up later, we have Box 13 from 1948, followed by The Eddie Cantor Show, also from 1948, and wrapping up this 2-hour podcast, we'll hear from Dimension X from 1950. But kicking things off this week, we have the adventures of Ellery Queen. 3 women were shot to death in one night by the same gun. What linked these women and who is responsible for their deaths? From November 7, 1945, this is The Adventures of Ellery Queen with The Adventures of the Message in Red.
Now, Ellery Queen in The Adventure of the Message in Red. Because it relieves headache pain so fast.
Take an Anacin.
Because it gives prolonged relief.
Take an Anacin.
Because it's made like a doctor's prescription.
Take an Anacin.
Anacin presents The Adventures of Ellery Queen. Tonight, the makers of Anacin bring you another thrilling adventure of Ellery Queen, the celebrated gentleman detective. Ellery Queen invites you to match wits with him as he relates another story of a crime he alone unraveled. Before revealing the solution, he gives you a chance to solve the mystery. Tonight, Anacin's guest, who will represent you home armchair detectives, is the famous actor Victor Jory. And now, here's Ellery Queen, master detective, and your Anacin host for the next half hour.
Thank you, Don Hancock, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, tonight's mystery really had my father going.
Your father, huh?
Oh, Nicky.
I suppose all those murders were duck soup for you, huh?
Oh, well, no, Nicky, this case was no harder than many I've had. Anyway, I call it The Adventure of the Message in Red.
Hotel Arbutus. Public stenographer. Yes, I'm Miss Kirby. At this hour? But... All right. If you drop into my office right away, I'll try to get it out tonight. Oh, why can't they dictate their old business letters during the day? Oh, gee, I'm tired. I better douse my eyes with cold water. I'm so sleepy I could... So soon. Coming. Gee, they must have used a house phone from the lobby. Come in, won't you?
Hooray in Dixieland. Now, who's that? Nobody out here. Oh. Now, who'd be using that talky thing from the vestibule? Nobody does. Yes? Yes, this Miss Hazel? But at this time of night? I was just going to bed. Been washing my supper dishes. All right. If they've just got to have a reader's report on it by tomorrow morning, just open the vestibule door, and my apartment's the first door on your right. Would be my luck if it's one of those 500,000-word jobs. Just a second. Oh, I wish I were in the land of cotton. Old times there are not...
Yes. Yeah. And that's all you've got to tell me, Pickett? Call back when you make sense. Sorry, Ellery, to keep you and Nicky waiting.
Those 2 killings last night, Dad, huh?
Yes. Lasted.
What 2 killings, Inspector? I haven't seen today's paper.
2 girls, Nicky. First one, a public stentor with the Hotel Arbutus on Lexington Avenue. Shot to death at 9:15 p.m. Name of Kirby.
Second one, a part-time manuscript reader for Mason and Morrison, the publishers, a Miss Hazel. Shot to death around 10:30 p.m. in her Greenwich Village apartment.
Both as they opened their doors. No evidence of robbery. Both unmarried, unattractive. No untangling alliances. Lived alone. No witnesses. No clues. No motive. The girls never knew each other. Never knew any of the same people. Cute?
Then the murders aren't connected, Inspector.
But they are, Nicky. Ballistics reports the same gun killed both of them.
I don't wonder you're puzzled.
I think it's a nut kill myself, Ellery. Yes, Billy?
Afternoon, Sergeant.
Hi, Miss Porter. Maestro.
Oh, Sergeant.
Inspector. Know what?
No. What?
Another one.
No.
What?
Yeah, a girl shot to death. She answered her door around 1 a.m. last night. Body wasn't found till this morning.
Ooh, number 3 last night.
Who was this one, Billy?
Lady's maid, Lucille Dubois.
Dubois, Sergeant, French.
Yeah, French maid. Worked for the Canellas.
Canella? The, Vetti Canellas?
The same.
She was shot in the Canella house, Sergeant.
Yeah, that 199-room shack on Upper Fifth Avenue. In her bedroom.
A stenographer, a publisher's reader, and a lady's maid. Mind if I sit in, Dad?
You can make any sense out of it, son. Come on.
Oh, my poor head. My home overrun with police officers. I've had to cancel the most important appointment this afternoon with my hairdresser.
Mrs. Canella, if you let me get away...
My husband is simply furious. My daughter, poor child, prostrate.
Look, Mrs. Canella.
And I'm on the verge of losing what little mind I have.
Mrs. Canella.
You understand, Mr. Crean. I know you do.
The death of your maid has upset you, naturally.
Oh, yes. Where am I going to turn? How can I replace Lucille? You don't know the trouble I had getting her originally. And now she's dead. It's not fair. It isn't.
The trouble is, gentlemen, you don't know the problems we girls have.
Yes.
Look, madam, how did this happen?
I'm sure I don't know. People shooting off guns in my home and everything. I'm so glad I wasn't home when it happened, even though the house is completely soundproof.
Your husband with you, madam?
Mr. Canet? Oh, no, he was out somewhere. His club or something.
How about your daughter?
Madge. Oh, now, please, don't drag poor Madge into this. She's suffered so much already.
When did you first learn your maid was dead, Mrs. Canella?
About 11 o'clock this morning, Mr. Cream. When she didn't bring my breakfast in bed, I knew instantly something was wrong.
Well, of course. That's the way you tell.
Oh, yes. I rang and I rang and I rang.
Mrs. Canella, who found the stiff?
Stiff?
The remains, madam.
Why, my daughter. One of the servants told Madge that Lucille's light was still on this morning, and she didn't answer the door. So Madge went up to the servants' quarters and went in, and... Oh, the poor child, the poor child. That's why no one answered my rings, you see.
Leaving you without breakfast. Oh, that's simply frightful,
yes,
Mrs. Canella. Yes. Well, suppose you have a little snack of caviar and cold pheasant or something while we hunt up your daughter.
Oh, dear. Must you?
Must we what, madam?
Give Madge the third degree or whatever it is. You don't know how sensitive the child is. She's always been so delicate. She shrinks so from the more brutal aspects of life.
Oh, Mother, stop drooling.
Oh, Madge, darling, are you all right, dear?
Definitely not. There'll be some more policemen. Who's the wench, a sob sister? The wench is Nicky Porter, Mr. Queen's secretary.
Ellery Queen.
Sergeant Villy.
Inspector Queen. Now, Miss Canella.
And you're in charge. Why isn't that body taken away, and who's going to clean up the mess? And you're to keep reporters out, too, do you hear? Thing like this happening now. Do you hear me? No, newspaper men.
Oh, dearest, don't excite yourself.
Oh, shut up, Mother. All this is your silly fault anyway.
My fault?
Yes, I told you long ago you should send that snoop packing, but no. You had to hang on to it till she had the bad taste to get herself murdered all over our house. What am I going to say to Evie?
Evie?
My fiancé. Three-star engagement was supposed to be announced this week. One of the very best Boston families. He'll never stand for a scandal.
Why should you think there's going to be a scandal, Miss Canella?
Oh, well, isn't a murder scandal enough?
I don't think that's what your daughter meant, Mrs. Canella. Yeah?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I didn't mean anything.
Let's take a look at the corpse.
Interesting.
What, Ellery?
Notice the facing surfaces of the tips of her index and middle fingers, Dad, on the right hand.
Oh, calloused. Funny place for calluses.
Yes.
If you gentlemen are through admiring Miss Dubois' calluses, would you mind covering up again so I can turn around?
All right now, Nicky.
But how do you know this maid's murder is connected with the other two murders?
Bradley was here early and dug the bullet out of her chest, Nicky. Ballistics just reported it came from the same gun that shot the Kirby and Hazel girls. Just what the connection is, I'm blessed. Oh, Veely?
You through with the corpus, Inspector. The morgue wagon's here for the pickup.
Take her away.
She's all yours, boys.
What did you find out about the other servants, Sergeant?
Names? Butler, James Smathers, cook, Sally Fabian, chauffeur, Waller Boyle. Upstairs maid, Vera Andorf. Smathers and Boyle share a double room, so do the Fabian and Andorf women. Each bunkie alibis the other for last night. Period.
Mother, you know you shouldn't be up here. It's just your morbid curiosity.
Oh, I don't know why you say such things to me, Madge, baby. Oh, look what they're doing.
Stay out here in the hall, Margaret. You too, Madge. Inspector Queen.
Who are you?
I'm Milford Canella. My wife just phoned my club. Is there anything I can do?
Excuse me, folks. Okay, boys, take her through.
Oh, Madge, I can't look. Oh, poor Lucy.
See yourself, Mother.
Mr. Canella, we were just... Pardon me. Ellery, what's that you just picked up?
Oh, well, this piece of scrap paper was hidden by Lucille Dubois' body, Dad.
A message in red. Red? Message. Let me see.
In red, is it? Oh, it is.
Written in blood.
She must have lingered a few minutes after the shot. When that killer left, she tried to write something before she died.
What's it say, Ellery?
Starts with a capital M, but there are a lot of spatters in the paper, and I can't quite make the rest out.
I'll have Craney look it over in the police lab. He'll decipher it. Give it to me, son.
It's quite important that you make a quick arrest, Inspector.
What's that mean, Mr. Canella?
I expect very shortly to be appointed to an extremely important diplomatic post abroad. So this unfortunate little affair must be cleared up at once. And without scandal.
Milford has worked so hard for the honor.
Yes, it's been Father's pet dream.
In fact, Inspector, unless you solve this case within 24 hours, I may have to see to it that someone else is put in charge. Come, Margaret. Madge.
And Father's just the little guy who can do it.
Dad.
Ellery, where are you going?
Out to confirm a theory, Dad.
Theory? About what, son?
About the connection between the three murders last night. I think I know now what it was. Anybody care to come along? And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the beginning of our mystery. We'll tell you more in just a moment, but first, here's Don Hancock for Anison.
Friends, if you want quick, comforting relief from pounding headache pain...
Take an Anison.
Yes, take an Anison, because Anison relieves headache pain so swiftly. Millions now know that easy-to-take Anison tablets act fast, give prolonged relief. And that's why we say...
Take an Anison.
There's a good reason why Anison relieves the agonizing pain of headaches so much more quickly. Anison is made like a doctor's prescription. That is, it contains not just one, but a combination of medically proven active ingredients. Your own physician or dentist may have already recommended Anison to you. That's how millions first discovered Anison's incredibly fast relief. And now, at the first sign of the pains of headache, neuralgia, or neuritis, they simply...
Take an Anison.
Anison, spelled A-N-A-C-I-N, is sold at all druggists. So if you want fast, prolonged relief from headache pain...
Take an Anison.
And now, back to our story. It's a short time later, and the inspector's car, with Sergeant Veely at the wheel, is threading its way through midtown Manhattan traffic.
But what is the connection, Ellery?
And how'd you know, Maestro?
What was the occupation of the first victim, the Kirby girl?
Public stenographer.
And the second one, Miss Hazel?
The Greenwich Village gal?
Or she was a part-time manuscript reader for Mason and Morrison.
A public stenographer, a publisher's reader. Now, Dad, do you recall the peculiar calluses we found on Lucille Dubois' right hand?
And the facing sides of the tips of her index and middle finger.
What very ordinary activity, if sufficiently prolonged, would cause calluses there?
Holding a pen or a pencil.
Yes, Nicky, writing. But not casual writing, like the occasional writing of letters. Lucille Dubois was writing a great deal for a long time. Weeks, months.
A diary.
Perhaps, at least a very extensive manuscript in longhand, Sergeant. So, we have Lucille Dubois, lady's maid in a very wealthy society family, writing a long manuscript by hand. When it was finished, what would happen to such a manuscript?
You take it to a public stenographer.
To be typed.
Surely the unfortunate Miss Kirby. And where do people usually take typed manuscripts?
To a publisher.
And most publishers employ readers to weed out undesirable submissions. And that's your Miss Hazel of the village. Simple?
Maestro, you're a genius.
The murdered girls are probably the only 3 people in the world who've read a certain unpublished manuscript.
And that's why they were murdered.
Man, it must be dynamite. The killer must have swiped it probably from the Hazel girl's apartment in the village after he bumped her off.
And destroyed it, Terry.
Yes, but there's still a possibility that something...
Well, here we are, Maestro.
Here's Rockefeller Center. Come on.
I must say, Mason and Morrison go in for book publishing in a large and handsome way, Ellery.
They're a bit on the sensational side, Nicky. Miss Jenkins?
Yes. Alberta Jenkins.
Are you the assistant editor my son spoke to on the receptionist phone?
Yes. And you must be Inspector Queen.
That's right.
I must say I'm all of a flutter. Am I arrested?
Not exactly, Miss Jenkins. Did you bring the list I asked you for?
Here it is. All the manuscripts turned over to Miss Hazel the past few months for a reader's report.
Let me see, Ellery.
Say, she read a lot, didn't she?
It'll be quite recent, I think. Look at this entry, Dad.
Maid Tells All by Lucille Dubois.
That's
Miss Jenkins, where's this manuscript? Are you sure Miss Hazel didn't return it to Mason and Morrison?
I'm pretty sure she didn't inspect it, but come into my office. No, it isn't here.
Oh, no.
But I just remembered. Where is that again?
Remembered what, Miss Jenkins?
There was a letter from Miss Hazel in this morning's mail. I've been so busy today. Here it is. Still unopened.
Give that to me, Bailey.
Well,
Dear Miss Jenkins, enclosed is a short preliminary report on 3 of the last batch of manuscripts.
I will personally deliver the manuscripts plus full reports later this week. The enclosed thumbnail reports cover number 1.
Give Back My Lover by Flo Gently.
Phooey. Romance in a phone booth by Georgette Bag. Wow.
And The Maid Tells All by Lucille Dubois.
No.
Miss Jenkins, would you mind leaving us for a moment?
I certainly do mind, Mr. Queen, but, well...
Where's that report the Hazel woman enclosed? Here.
Now we'll find out.
Maid Tells All. Sensational true life story of high life as seen from backstairs. Style is faulty. Author obviously thinks in French, but might be worth a rewrite. Possibly high sales appeal, but must be screened carefully by legal departments against libel suits. That's all.
Maid's manuscript spilled a lot of nasty, unsuspected stuff about the Canellas that would have cost Milford Canella that high diplomatic post he's been angling for.
Or Madge Canella, her blue blood Boston marriage.
Yeah, somehow the killer discovered what Lucille was writing, who typed her manuscript, and the name of the publisher she sent it to.
And through the publisher, which reader had it.
So he's got to wipe out whoever read it. Steno, wham. Reader, wham. And he swipes the manuscript from her apartment. Then he goes back to the Canella dump and blasts Lucille, and the secrets are safe.
Too safe, blast it. I thought we might find a clue here to the killer's identity. But apparently the whole Canella family has motive.
Stymied. Let's go down to headquarters. Maybe the autopsy's turned up something.
Don't drive so fast, Sergeant. You just passed a snail.
There's nothing to rush for, Miss Porter.
You could only see some daylight.
In this darkness, Inspector? Oh, at least I'm enjoying this ride on the East River Drive. Or I would be if the great man's thoughts weren't so...
Of course.
Of course.
Oh, Mr. Queen is with us again.
Why they large?
The answer, Dad. It's right in your pocket.
What answer?
To the triple header, Maestro?
My Okay.
I forgot. You forgot. We all forgot, Dad. A certain message in red.
Holy. That dang message Lucille wrote in her own blood.
Say.
The one we couldn't decipher.
Where'd I put it? Ah, here. What's the matter with
Come
me?
on.
Billy, get down to headquarters. Quick.
Yeah, man. Ha. If anybody can make it out, it's that Whistler lab. Men, we're in. Sailing, sailing over the boundary.
Sure,
Beat it up.
Huh?
What's eating you now, son?
A car right in our trail coming up fast.
There's some drunk who wants a race.
With a police car out.
Billy, he's out to wreck us.
Oh, yeah?
Keep going, faster.
Look out, Sergeant! Why, take a shot at him.
No, not with Nicky in the car.
Don't mind me.
He's
I
gaining.
could only spot the driver. It's too dark.
Billy! Watch it!
Oh. Don't tell me I'm in one piece.
Sorry. I'm okay, too. Inspector.
No bones broken, Billy. Ellery.
A miracle. We're all right. Oh, Billy, that was quick thinking.
Certainly was.
Yeah, if it weren't for the way you took that crash, Sergeant, we've been through the retaining wall at the bottom of the river.
Thanks, but look at the car, Inspector.
Never mind the car. Why?
Dad, Lucille's message.
Huh?
All three Canellas were present when I found it under Lucille's body this afternoon.
One of them must have trailed us.
Waiting a chance to destroy Lucille's clue before we could get it to headquarters.
Then the killer is one of the Canellas. And her message tells which one.
Hey, the car, Billy. Let's get to that lab.
Sergeant.
Well, Billy?
What's the lab verdict?
Well, it's this way.
Sergeant.
No good.
Kind of looks like a puzzler, Inspector.
Never mind characterizing it, Billy. What did they say the message is?
It starts with a capital M, Maestro, like you said, then a period.
M period, yes?
Then a space, then a capital K, then a small I-N, the N trailing off like she died before she could finish the word. And that's all.
Capital M period, space, capital K, small I-N.
Capital K, small I-N. The start of the name Canella.
No doubt about it, Nicky.
But what's the capital M period space mean?
Last name Canella. M period must be the initial of one of the Canella's first names.
Milford Canella. M for Milford.
Well, the daughter's name also starts with an M, Nicky. Madge.
Well, then it's either Madge or old man.
Let's not leave out Mrs. Canella. Don't you recall Canella addressing his wife as Margaret?
Frost. Another washout. Again, it could be any of the three. Let's go back to the Canella house. I'll find out which one it is. Good evening.
Oh, dear. That inspector man again.
And that nice Mr. Queen, etc.
Well, Inspector, have you cleared up this mess?
Where were you three late this afternoon and early evening? Where were you?
I needed air. I was strolling in Central Park.
Alone, Mrs. Canella?
Why, yes.
How about you, Mr. Canella?
Well, as a matter of fact, I took a walk myself down Fifth Avenue. Very upsetting business, you know.
Meet anybody you know, Mr. Canella?
No.
And you, Miss Canella?
I took one of our cars and drove around town for a while just to cool off. I'd had a phone call from dear Evie in Boston.
My daughter's fiancé told her they'd better wait about announcing the engagement until this miserable affair blows over. I knew it. I just knew it.
Aren't we getting off the track?
No alibis.
Well, Ellery, anything to ask these three people before I take them downtown for a real going over?
No, but why do you want to take them to headquarters, Dad?
Why do I? To find out which one of them bumped off the Kirby and Hazel girls and Mrs. Canella's maid. That's why.
Oh, I can tell you that, Dad. Right here and now. And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the mystery. Now, suppose you home armchair detectives match wits with Anison's guest for this evening.
And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, our guest, the famous actor of stage, screen, and radio, is Mr. Victor Jory, who is starring on Broadway in the hit play Therese.
Good evening, Mr. Jory.
Good
It's nice
evening.
to have you with us. Well, Mr. Jory, I guess tonight's show is a change for you, isn't it?
It certainly is. Because generally I'm on the other end. I'm the person who's done the murdering, Ellery.
Well, you always are the criminal, but you're always so wonderful, too.
Well, thank you, Nicky. I hope you'll like me just as well in the role of detective.
Sure. Well, Mr. Jory, who do you think murdered the three women?
Well, I'm not very sure. I think it was the mother, Margaret Canella.
Why do you think that?
My only reason for thinking that is because the Milford Canella suspicion is planted on him instantly by the fact that he says that he has a very important post and it's very valuable to him. The daughter backs that up. The mother has said nothing. Furthermore, the mother's alibi, being in Central Park, seems to me one that could be shaken less easily than the man who walked down Fifth Avenue, which might be checked on, or the girl in the car, because the car could be checked on afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. Jory. You'll find out in just a moment if your solution is correct. Now, here's Don Hancock for Anderson.
Today, millions are switching to Anacin. For Anacin is the modern way to relieve headache suffering. There's nothing to fuss with, nothing to mix or spill. Just easy to take little tablets that you carry right in your pocket or purse. And Anacin is the fast way to prolonged relief. Prove it. Next time you have a headache,
Take an Anacin.
Anacin must give you fast, prolonged relief or your money back. I'll repeat that. If you're not thoroughly satisfied that Anacin does much more for your headache pain, simply return the unused portion and your money will be refunded. So tomorrow, ask your druggist for the small, inexpensive package containing 12 Anacin tablets. Take only as directed. If pain persists or is unusually severe, see your physician. Remember, there's only one Anacin. Don't be satisfied with anything less. Next time you have a headache pain,
Take an Anacin.
How, Maestro?
Time! All right, son. You know which of these respectable citizens killed the three girls? Sing out.
Dad, what was the message Lucille Dubois left in her own blood?
Start of a killer's name. Capital M period, space, capital K-I-N for Canella.
Yes. But what did the capital M period stand for?
Well, it could only mean the initial of one of the Canella's first names, Ellery.
How can it possibly represent one of the first names, Nicky? Milford, Madge, Margaret. All M's. If Lucille had presence of mind enough to write that message, certainly she wouldn't have left an ambiguous clue. A clue that could refer to any of the Canellas. So when she wrote that capital M period, she didn't mean the initial of one of their first names. She meant some other abbreviation. One she thought would be perfectly clear.
What, Maestro?
Well, Sergeant, what abbreviation, other than a first initial, usually precedes a last name?
Huh?
Abbreviation for Mr., Mrs., or Miss. Oh, no, that would be MR, MRS. And Miss has no abbreviation.
Oh, so it can't be that either, Ellery.
It can't stand for Mr., Mrs., or Miss in English. But how about French?
French?
What?
Mrs. Canella's maid was French. And that reader's report in her book actually remarked that the author obviously thinks in French. What's the French abbreviation for Mrs.? Any schoolboy knows that. Capital M, small M-E for Madam. Miss, capital M, small L-L-E for Mademoiselle. But for Mr., Monsieur, it's simply capital M period. Get him, Billy.
I'll see you all sizzle for this. Oh, yeah.
I disagree, Mr. Canella. If anyone's going to sizzle, it's you.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have the solution to our mystery. We'd like to thank Mr. Jory for being our guest armchair detective this evening. And as mementos of the occasion, Anacin has for Mr. Jory a beautiful Gruen, very thin wristwatch, a copy of my new mystery anthology, Rogues Gallery, and a subscription to Ellery Queen's Mystery Magazine.
Ellery will be back in a moment with a preview of next week's story. Meanwhile, remember, because it relieves headache pains so fast,
Take an Anacin.
because it gives prolonged relief,
Take an Anacin.
because it's made like a doctor's prescription,
Take an Anacin.
there's only one Anacin. Get Anacin tomorrow. And now, Ellery, how about next week's case? Got another mystery with 3 or 4 murders?
No, Don, only one murder next week. But it's one of the most confusing to come our way in a long time.
A tough one, huh?
Yes, we had so much evidence we didn't know what to do with it. Not to mention the problem of the bending corpse.
The bending corpse?
Looks like that did it, Don. Now you'll have to wait till next week when Anderson presents The Adventure of a Happy Marriage.
If you are suffering miseries of a cold, why take chances with untried remedies when time-tested, reliable Hill's cold tablets may promptly relieve that dull, headachy feeling and the muscular aches and soreness of colds? Double your money back if you do not get satisfactory relief from such distress in half an hour. Take only as directed. Time the action. Only Hill's offers you double your money back if you do not get half-hour relief. Hill's cold tablets.
This is Ellery Queen saying goodnight for Anderson.
Anderson is a product of the Whitehall Pharmaceutical Company. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
That was The Adventures of Ellery Queen with The Adventures of the Message in Red from November 7th, 1945. Next up on Classic Radio Rewind is an episode from Box 13. Dan Holliday gets knocked out with a blackjack and wakes up on the high seas, ready for adventure. From May 5th, 1948, this is Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday in Box 13 and Shanghai.
Box 13. With the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Box 13. Box 13. Box 13. Box.
The body lay like a squashed melon at the foot of the cliff. Period. Period is right. Well, what happens now, Holliday? The inspector wonders how. The inspector wonders. Oh, no, it's Holliday who wonders. I wonder how. I wonder why. I wonder what. I wonder where you've been, Susie.
But, Mr. Holliday, I've only been gone 10 minutes. Went down to the Star-Times after the mail.
Oh, so you did. What's new in Box 13? Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. And now, Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. Well, this is quite a letter. Your ad, Adventure Wanted, will go any place, do anything, reads like a challenge. If it is, I dare you to go to Bay City Pier tonight and do what you will be told when you board the Ruthie J. The Ruthie J.
Mr. Holliday.
What's the matter, Susie?
You wouldn't go on a boat, would you?
Oh, why not? As a kid, I was a Sea Scout. Haven't been on a boat since, and I love them.
But, Mr. Holliday, what if when you got on that boat you were shanghaied?
Susie, the word is shanghaied.
Oh, shanghaied. What's the diff? Suppose some smuggler hits you over the head with a sloop or something, and...
A sloop? Oh, Susie.
Yes, a sloop. And then they sail off and dump you on the beach at Timbuktu.
They couldn't sail off and dump me on the beach at Timbuktu.
Why not?
Timbuktu happens to be in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Oh.
Yes, And please tie an anchor to that imagination of yours.
Okay, Mr. Holliday. But if you wind up on the other side of the world, please don't write me a letter about your voyage.
No?
No. Just reading about the ocean makes me seasick.
Well, Holiday, this is it. Take in a lungful of that fresh ocean breeze. Smell that fresh salt air. And fish. Not so fresh. Well, the letter said I was to board the Ruthie J. I wonder where she'll be. I wonder what she'll be. A schooner, trim and neat, 42-footer, 12-foot beam. There's your dreamboat. And, brother, what a scow. Neat. Like a tub of dirty clothes in a mud puddle. Ahoy! Ahoy, mate! Hey, you over there.
You're calling me, Mac?
Yeah.
What's with this, ahoy mate stuff?
You're a seafaring man, aren't you?
Don't let these tight pants fool you. And just 'cause I'm standing on this sea jitney, don't make me no sailor boy.
Oh, my mistake. Where's the skipper?
The skipper? Hey, look, Mac, I told you I ain't no sailor. With me, you gotta talk English.
Right, Gunzel. Dip that heater back under your wing and take me to the boss of this fish factory now.
That's better. Now you're talking my language. Can I help you across the rail?
Oh, thanks.
Say, is your name, Holiday?
Yeah.
Dan Holiday?
Now, how'd you guess?
Pleased to meet you. Sweet dreams, Holiday. I hope you enjoy the boat ride.
Holiday. Oh, Holiday, you've been sleeping long enough. Better wake up and see what's making your bed roll around like this. Oh, my aching head. Hey, what is this? Don't look now, Holiday, but Susie was right. You've been shang-hoed. You're out at sea. Well, and a pretty girl aboard.
Hello, Mr. Holliday. I see you're up and around.
Yeah, I'm up and my head's going around.
Bit of a blow, eh, Mr. Holliday?
You mean the one on my skull or the one outside?
Oh, I'm sorry about that sapping you took. Sometimes Manny leans a little heavy with that blackjack of his.
If he'd have leaned any heavier, he'd have driven me right through the deck. Was it you who answered my ad for adventure?
Does that surprise you?
I wouldn't have associated such a violent reception with a lady.
You've embarked upon a real adventure.
Well, suppose I decide to sit this one out.
You could go ashore.
Now, which direction is ashore?
Immediately astern.
Oh, thanks.
About 15 miles.
Oh, well, in that case, I think I'll stay.
Good. I didn't want you to decline my invitation, which explains Manny and his blackjack as a reception committee.
Oh? Well, since you're in back of this, just who are you?
My name is Marie Gordon. I felt you might be in need of a vacation, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, sort of a holiday for holiday. Is that it?
Exactly.
Well, great. Now, just where do we go on this vacation?
You go fishing with the captain.
Oh, I go fishing with the captain. What about you, Miss Gordon?
I remain locked in my cabin. I have things to think about.
What about Manny and his convincer?
He didn't sail. Other business kept him ashore.
The plot thickens. I fish with the captain while you stay locked in your cabin, and Manny with his blackjack prowls ashore.
Correct. And speaking of plots, Mr. Holliday, I've always admired those in your books. Perhaps you could confirm something for me.
I could try.
Establish the case of someone having something not his own, wishing to keep it from another person who desires it as well. Where would you put it?
Well, in the place you'd least expect to find it, of course.
Of course, Mr. Holliday. Good night.
Good night, Miss Gordon.
Remember, the fish bite early.
I know, especially the suckers. There's a strong odor aboard this ship, and it isn't just fish. Well, there's nothing you can do tonight, Holiday, so you might as well get some sleep.
Oh, a sailor's life is the very best life. So it's a sailor's life for me. A sailor's
morning.
life for...
You're the captain?
Yep. Morning, sir. Come through last night's squall okay?
Yeah, except for this bump on my noggin.
Roll to get his attention, eh? 'Twere a bit rough.
Rough is right. Oh, I understand you and I are going to do some fishing.
Aye, sir. These grounds is good for swordfish. Might even catch us a marlin.
Just where are we, Captain?
Them islands way off there is the Catalinas. Plenty of albacore here, too.
Doesn't Miss Gordon like to fish?
Don't know, sir. This is the first time she's hired me in the Ruthie J.
Then this isn't Miss Gordon's boat.
Nope. She's mine. We're just chartered for this trip.
How long are we provisioned for?
4 or 5 days. Could put in at Avalon if you want to stay out longer.
I didn't want to stay out this long.
Not ready to go ashore so soon, are you, Mr. Holliday? A few days fishing is just what you need.
What I need is to have my head examined.
That bump still bothering you?
No, but what might be happening back in town is.
Relax, Mr. Holliday. Everything will be taken care of.
Yeah. But I'm wondering how and what and why. Why is right. Just why would a girl like Marie Gordon maroon you on a fishing boat? What's the gag? And how's it going to be pulled and on whom? Holiday, as an author, you're not even a good fisherman.
You're quite a fisherman, Mr. Holliday. Why, in just 4 days, you handle that heavy gear like a real deep-sea man.
Thanks. But don't you think we've got enough fish?
You've got another. There goes your line off the outrigging. It's a big one. Let him run, sir. Now, hit him hard. Good. You've got him, sir.
Don't look now, but I think he's got me.
He's a marlin, I think. Let him play.
Let him go play with someone else. I'm tired.
Oh, that's too bad, Mr. Holliday. You set your drag too soon. That's why he broke the gear.
I wanted to break the gear. I'm sick of fishing. Captain, I want to be put ashore now.
Sorry, sir. Miss Gordon will have to give me new orders.
Now, look, Captain, I'm going ashore. I'm going to be there before tonight.
But Mr. Holliday...
Captain, you heard the gentleman. He's going ashore.
Aye, ma'am. Do we run for the mainland or the islands?
Neither. We stay here.
But you said Mr. Holliday was to go ashore.
That's correct. Lower the dinghy, Captain.
The dinghy?
And hand Mr. Holliday the oars.
The oars?
Ma'am, we're more than 10 miles off Catalina.
If Mr. Holliday wishes to be ashore before tonight, he'd better start rowing now.
Oh, you beautiful Box 13. If it hadn't have been for you, I wouldn't be out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in a rowboat. Better rest on your oars a minute, Holiday. Because the wind is coming up, the bump on your head is swelling, the ache in your back is growing, and the blisters on your hands are spreading. When Susie mentioned the beach at Timbuktu, she knew what she was talking about. There's no ocean there.
Hey, Spaulding. You looking for me?
Oh, there you are, Manny. Yes, I've been looking for you.
Now, what does the great Edward B. Spaulding want with
Quiet, will you? You should know better than to mention me by name. Get in that booth.
None of your penthouse-type clientele would be in a joint like this. Have a seat, Spaulding.
I tell you, that doesn't matter. I just shouldn't be seen even talking.
In that case, hit the road. I gotta keep my rep, too.
Meaning what?
I'm a nice, honest hood. And even though you act and look like the owner of Tiffany's, to me, you're just a fence.
Where's your boss? Marie.
She's out fishing.
Fishing? She couldn't be.
Look, pretty boy. If her and this Holiday want to go on a fishing trip, it's their business, see?
It's my business to get what I've paid for. The last shipment's overdue. Now, where is it?
You're sounding kind of tough. For you.
With the amount of money this deal involves, I can get tougher.
Well, I don't know from nothing. You gotta talk to her.
If Marie's trying to pull something... Hey, wait a minute. You mentioned a Holiday. That wouldn't be Dan Holliday.
Did I say Holiday? Thought I said Holohan. Or was it Halloween?
All right, Manny, be a comedian. But tell your boss if she doesn't produce that merchandise by tomorrow, there'll be trouble.
Ha ha. If I told her, she might die of fright.
If she doesn't come through, somebody is going to die. And it won't be from fright.
Well, Holiday, you finally made it. You were towed into Catalina, hocked your watch for a ticket, and flew right back to town. If this is adventure, you'd better stick with the more dangerous sports like croquet or something. Susie. Oh, I forgot about Susie. She'll wonder what's happened. I'm 4 days late for lunch. She's not here. Guess she got hungry.
She's not here, Holiday, but I am.
Yeah, who are you?
Get in that office.
All right. All right. All right, now what's this all about?
I want to know where you've been for 4 days.
I don't think I've had the pleasure.
It may not prove to be a pleasure, if what I suspect is true. Now, where's Marie Gordon?
Marie Gordon?
From your expression of surprise, I gather you know what I'm talking about. Did you catch any fish, or was it larger game you were after?
Not knowing who you are, I'm at a disadvantage.
Disadvantage is even greater now. Now do you talk, or do I shoot?
Oh, do I have a choice?
No.
In that case, I'll talk.
You are listening to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday. And now back to Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Holiday, you can run into more trouble than a kid playing football with a beehive. You know, I don't think this guy's in the mood to believe you just got bopped on the bean and taken for a boat ride. He thinks you're in on the deal. Yeah, but what's the deal?
Come on, Holiday, talk.
Oh, I'd love to, but what do we talk about?
About 5 minutes. And if by then you haven't told me where you and Marie have been instead of fishing, I'm going to pull this trigger.
Now, believe me, I caught 5 tuna, 10 albacore, 4 swordfish, and a pair of blistered hands. And that's no fish story. Hey, where you going?
Over here to turn up your radio. You see, I'm very considerate of others. This is a very big gun, makes a very big noise. I don't want to disturb the neighbors when it goes off.
Okay, mister, whatever your name is. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. And if you don't believe me, you can start shooting.
You sound very brave, Holiday.
And I act very dumb. Now, I know it was stupid of me to accept a blind invitation to visit a boat named the Ruthie J. Because when I got there, a tough character in tight pants used my head for a dinner gong.
Somebody slugged you?
Yeah. And I've got the bump to prove it.
This character's name wouldn't begin with the letter M.
As far as I'm concerned, it ended with A-N-N-Y.
So it was Manny. Well, go on.
Well, while I was unconscious, I was tucked Betty by in the cabin of the boat. And when I woke up, I was gazing into the lovely blue eyes of one Miss Marie Gordon, a woman I have never seen before in my life.
Then I suppose you and this total stranger went fishing for 4 days.
Now you took the words right out of my mouth.
Well, find some more. And tell me you didn't ask any questions. That you were just brought back home with salt spray in your hair, a beautiful tan, and nothing else.
I asked plenty of questions, to which I got plenty of no answers. And for your information, I wasn't brought back home.
Oh? You, swam?
No, I rode. 10 miles all the way to Catalina. There I caught a plane, took a cab from the airport, and found you here waiting for me. That, brother, is my story. You turned off the radio. What's the trouble? No gunplay?
No gunplay.
Great, but why the change of heart?
Holiday, I understand you're quite an author. But even you couldn't make up a story like that one.
So Holiday got rid of the mysterious man with a gun. Hey, but what about Susie? She's not here. She's not at home. The Star-Times. They'll know what happened to her.
Well, if it isn't Dan Holiday. Have a nice vacation?
Oh, wonderful, Jonesy. Hey, have you seen Susie?
Not since the other morning. She came in with a wire telling her to take a few days vacation.
Hey, who told her to take a vacation?
Well, you did, of course. Don't you remember?
Jonesy, sometimes my left hand just doesn't know what my right hand is writing. Where'd she go?
She didn't say. She came in with a man wearing tight pants. She looked for the mail. There wasn't any, and they went away.
Man with the tight pants. Manny, I'll see you later.
No, wait. All this mail came while you've been gone. And a box, too. Here.
A box? What could this be?
Maybe candy.
Oh, nobody loves me that much.
Wait.
What?
You hear something tick in that box right now?
Tick. You think it's...
I think you better get that thing out of here.
Oh, but Jonesy,
Take it to police headquarters. Get it out of the building fast. It might blow up any minute.
You've ridden in many a taxicab, Holiday, but this is the first one you've taken with a maniac in the driver's seat and a bomb in the back. Inspector Blake. That's my man.
You say this thing ticked?
Yeah, it sounds like a clock in there.
Come on, hurry.
Where are we going?
Got a bomb shelter down in the basement.
Oh, that's great, but why take the bomb with us?
We're going to open that box.
That's all I need.
Been soaking for 30 minutes. We're safe now.
Whew. Thanks, Inspector. Say, do you mind shoving my heart back into place for me?
Now, there's nothing to worry about, my boy. We'll open up this beauty and see what we've got.
Holy smoke.
These are jewels, Holiday. Now, what made you think this was a time bomb?
I have an aversion to anything that ticks.
And I have an aversion, too. To people like you come in here talking about time bombs when all they've heard are some loose jewels clicking together.
Well, I'm sorry, Inspector. Well, I think I'll beat it. Just let me wrap up those stones.
Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't. Those jewels stay here until you can prove ownership. Now, where'd you get them? To whom do they belong?
Give me about 30 minutes, Inspector, and I think I'll be able to answer you. So that's what it was, Holiday. A stunt to smuggle jewels. Into Box 13, no less. That Marie Gordon, she's a clever, clever girl. No wonder the mysterious character at the office was waving that gun at me. Oh, think of what would have happened if I'd tried to lie to him. Come on, Holiday. You've got places to go and some people to meet.
I was so worried about you rowing all that way, Mr. Holiday.
Oh, that's okay, Captain. Hey, what I came here for was to locate Miss Gordon. Do you know where I can find her?
She's a popular woman. 2 other men come a-looking for her.
2 men?
Yep. One was a smooth-looking sort of fella. The other was a tough.
With tight pants?
That you mention it, yes. He was here when we docked.
What happened? Did you hear the conversation?
Only that the tough one was to go right quick to a place called Rambler's Inn and wait.
Then the other man arrived.
Yep. He seemed sore about something. They got in a car together and drove off. That's the last I seen of them.
Captain, you're terrific. When my blistered hands heal up, you and I are going back after the Marlin that got away.
All right, Matt. Where do you think you're going? Well, if it ain't Mr. Holiday again. Only this time, I don't think you were invited.
Yeah, that's right. And this time you're the one who's going Betty by. Pleasant dreams, Manny. Here. Just in case you get restless in your sleep, let me tie you in bed with this baling wire. I didn't have time to ask you in which cabin there were, Manny. But those angry voices I hear down the line, I don't think they would be coming from honeymooners.
Marie, for the last time, where are those jewels?
Don't threaten me, Spaulding. Manny's right outside. One call from me and he'd be all over you like a rug.
I gave you the money to pay off the smugglers. I want the jewels.
At first, the boys didn't want to turn over the stuff. When they finally did, I thought they might try to get it back.
So you went off on a fishing trip with a man named Holliday. Why?
Certainly. And for a good reason. Holliday has the jewelry.
What? How did he get into this?
You know about his ad in the Star-Times?
What about it?
When I thought we might have trouble with the boys, I had to think of a place to put it where they wouldn't expect to find it.
So?
I sent it to Box 13. Where are you going?
To pay another visit to Dan Holliday.
Don't bother.
What?
I'm here.
Holliday!
Manny! Manny!
I'm afraid Manny won't hear you.
What?
He's taking his nap. And you look sleepy, too. Say, Manny's blackjack works fine. Your friend Spaulding is sleeping like an infant. Now,
What?
Now, what's this about my having that smuggled jewelry?
You, could share in it with me.
You're very generous.
I can afford to be. Duty-free, and with Spaulding's wealthy clients.
Oh. You decided to cut Spaulding in after all.
Why should I?
What do you mean?
I'd rather cut you in, Mr. Holliday.
No, thanks. I'm not interested.
But that's foolish. Think of all that money.
I am, but I'm also thinking of a great tag for the yarn I'm going to write.
But what will that get you?
Royalties, lady. Royalties.
This is Box 13, starring Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well, Holliday, prepare yourself for an I told you so from Susie when she comes in. Brother, wait till she finds out she was right about those smugglers and my being shanghaied.
Holliday.
What is it, Inspector?
We've been after that smuggling gang for a long time. If that Gordon dame hadn't gotten so greedy and tried to chisel on Spaulding, we wouldn't have caught up with him so soon. And, of course, you helped a bit, too.
Coming from a police inspector, those are very kind words. Well, Susie, it's about time you showed up.
Oh, hello, Mr. Holliday. My, what a beautiful tan. Catch any fish?
All kinds. Tell me, Susie, where have you been?
Out of town. The wire you sent me said to take a vacation for 5 or 6 days.
Oh, the wire I sent, which I didn't send.
Well, anyway, you didn't specify which, so, Mr. Holliday, I took 6.
I see.
And, Mr. Holliday...
Yes, Susie.
You know the nice man that I went down to Box 13 with?
Yes.
Well, I told him how I warned you about being taken by smugglers, and do you know what he said?
No. What did he say?
He said you were right about the smugglers. They wouldn't hit you on the head with a sloop. They'd use a blackjack.
Oh, fine.
Next week, same time, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Alan Ladd appears through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in Wild Harvest. Box 13 is directed by Ted Hediger with original story by Frank Hart Tausig. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker. Original music was composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. This is a Mayfair production.
That was Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday in Box 13 with the episode titled Shanghai, as originally heard May 5th, 1948. And that brings our number 1 to a close. Comedy and sci-fi awaits us on the other side of the break as Classic Radio Rewind returns with our number 2 right after these messages. Back to Classic Radio Rewind and hour number 2. This is Barry Slinker, and kicking off this hour is the Eddie Cantor Show. Eddie wants to go to the fights with Harry Von Zell, but Harry needs a babysitter, and Humphrey Bogart does the sitting. From October 8th, 1948, this is the Eddie Cantor Show with special guest, you guessed it, Humphrey Bogart.
Oh, waiter.
Yes, sir?
I'll have some roast beef rare, some hash brown potatoes, and a cold bottle of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yes, sir. Finest beer served anywhere.
Pabst Blue Ribbon, finest beer served anywhere, proudly presents
The Eddie Cantor Pabst Blue Ribbon Show.
with our guest stars Humphrey Bogart and Dinah Shore, Billy Burke, the sportsman, Cookie Fairchild's Orchestra, yours truly, Harry Von Zell, and starring your man Friday, Eddie Cantor.
Thank you. Don't overdo it, you know. Harry Von
Eddie.
Zell, listen.
Yeah.
There's a great fight at the Legion Stadium tonight here in Hollywood, and I'm going to take you with me, all right?
Oh, well, I'm afraid I can't go, Eddie. I have to sit home with the baby.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
Why should a father have to be a babysitter? Let me tell you something, Harry. When my mind travels back to when I was a baby, yeah,
well, go on.
Give me time. For me, it's a pretty long trip. I'm only fooling, Harry. It really wasn't so long ago.
It wasn't.
No.
Listen, when you were a baby, your sitter was sitting bull.
Is that so?
Well, but Eddie, I never have any trouble sitting with my baby because he's such a happy little fellow. He's always laughing, you know.
He is?
Oh, you ought to hear how he laughs. He has my sunny disposition, you know. He even looks like me.
Yeah. And he laughs?
Well, I don't think things will be so funny to him when he gets old enough to go to school. I was reading in the paper there may not be any room for him. Gosh, every day the schools are getting more crowded.
Crowded?
Yeah.
Crowded, the school?
Sure.
Let me tell you something, Harry. This morning I visited the classroom. They were arranging the children in layers. One little boy got the mumps, pushed 12 kids out of the window. I said to the teacher, look, teacher, there are 2 kids sitting in the wastebasket. She said, somebody must have tilted it. There's supposed to be 3 of them in there.
Oh. No, Eddie. Well, really, some civic-minded people ought to do something about the crowded conditions in our school.
You're right, Harry. When I was a kid, along with other civic-minded fellows like Jack Benny and George Jessel, we saw to it that there was plenty of room in our school.
How did you do that?
We never showed up.
Well, Eddie, listen to me. If the 3 of you never showed up, didn't they send the truant officer after you?
Sure, but by the time he caught up with us, Jessel and I were already married and Jack Benny owned the school. No. But, Harry, since you can't come to the fights with me, I may as well go alone.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my car, and I'll tell you what I'll...
Hello, Eddie.
Well, Billy Burke.
Oh, Eddie, I was so excited when I drove up and saw your car at the curb. Now we're double parked.
Yeah. We're double parked?
Yes, my car is on top of yours.
Billy, you say your car is on top of mine?
Isn't it thrilling? Now you can drive me home piggyback.
Piggyback? Piggyback?
Oh, isn't it just like a man to get so excited? Eddie, only this morning I was thinking, I'm glad I'm not a man.
Oh, why?
Well, none of my clothes would fit me. Oh, I have some lovely furs, too. Yesterday I put a leash on my dog, Rover, and we went to I.J. Fox.
You're furrier?
No, Rover is furrier than both of us.
Oh. Harry, take her, will you?
Yeah, I'll try. Listen, Billy, Eddie has 2 tickets for the fights tonight. Would you like to go with him?
Oh, I'm sorry, but I'm too busy. In behalf of the election board, I'm trying to find a house where we can put a voting booth.
Oh, a furnished house?
Oh, doesn't matter. Frankly, I had a vacancy in mind.
You still have it. But Billy, I'm glad you're working so hard to see that our election comes off all right. Confidentially, Billy, which of the candidates is your favorite, Truman or Dewey?
Well, to help me make up my mind. I went to the woods and picked a daisy. As I pulled off the petals, I said to myself, I love Tom, I love Harry, Tom, Harry, Tom, Harry.
Well, which one turned out to be your favorite?
Sylvester.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did you say Sylvester?
Yes, he was in the woods with me when I picked the daisy.
Good night, Billy. Harry.
What, Eddie?
Harry, if you're going to be sitting up all alone with the baby, I'll drop in on you after the fights, all right? Mm-hmm. Besides, I want to see your new house.
Oh, you'll love it, Eddie.
Yeah?
I put the house up myself. It's prefabricated, you know. When you come over to see it, just ring the bell.
I'll do that.
Now, be sure to ring the bell.
Why is it so important that I ring the bell?
Well, if you knock on the door, I'll have to put the house up all over again.
Of all the silly things that happen...
Oh, Eddie.
Well, Dinah Shaw. Hey, Dinah, how about coming to the fights with me?
Oh, I can't, Eddie. I'm staying home with George tonight.
George, aren't you being a little silly? Why do you want to sit with George Montgomery when you can be sitting with me? You're not being very smart.
Eddie, let me be stupid in my own little way.
I never saw anyone as crazy about a guy as you are about George. But okay, so sing your song in your own little way, and then I'll be off to the fight. You want to sing Bluebird of Happiness, Dinah?
Hold your head up high till you find a bluebird of happiness. You will find greater peace of mind knowing there's a bluebird of happiness. And when he sings to you, though you're deep in blue, you will see a ray of light creep through. And so remember this, life is no abyss. Somewhere there's a bluebird of happiness. The poet with his pen and the peasant with his plow. Makes no difference who you are. It's all the same somehow. The king upon his throne, the jester at his feet, the shop girl, the actress, the woman on the street. It's a life of smiles and a life of tears. It's a life of hopes and a life of fears. A blinding torrent of rain and a brilliant burst of sun. A biting, tearing pain and bubbling, sparkling fun. If things don't look so cheerful, just show a little fight. For every bit of darkness, there's a little bit of light. For every bit of hatred, there's a little bit of love. For every cloudy morning, there's a midnight moon above. And so remember this, life is no abyss. Somewhere there's a bluebird of happiness. Fine. Dinah, I can't tell you, but God, that recitation, it has such heart, such sentiment, such feeling. Oh, you're sweet, Eddie. I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it, but Dinah, so much more could be done with it.
So much more?
Oh, yeah. Would you mind reciting it again? And I'll show you how it really should go. Music, Cookie, please.
Now?
I'll tell you when.
All right.
Now.
The poet with his pen, the peasant with his plow.
Would gladly swap that pen and plow for a bottle of Pabst Blue Ribbon right now.
Oh, Eddie.
Go on, Dinah, continue. It's a living. Go ahead.
Oh, wait a minute. The king upon his throne, the beggar in the square.
Night and day you'll hear them say, yes, sir, finest beer served anywhere. While traveling along life's highway, your days will always be sunny. You'll have nothing to fear as long as you have blue ribbon beer, providing you also have money. Trouble may haunt you, sorrow may taunt you. The future may not look too balmy. Life may be bare, but don't give up in despair. Try a glass of Pabst with a slice of salami.
Oh, Eddie.
The scene is a cottage high on a hill. The husband has been away. One day he comes home, never more to roam. With his wife and his kids he will stay. He embraces his wife. She's the love of his life. And no love ever was greater. Being home was just grand. Then he drops his wife's hand and goes straight to the refrigerator. He lets out a roar. Then he runs out the door. His life, his world has collapsed. He has a wife, he has kids, and a beautiful home. But what good is all that without Pabst? I can't go on. Finish it. You're an actress.
Oh, Eddie. And that is why we say go buy a case today of a blended, splendid blue ribbon happiness.
Thank you, Dinah.
You'll hear it everywhere. Finest beer served anywhere. 33 fine brews blended into one great beer.
Oh, Cookie. Say, Cookie Fairchild.
Yes, master.
Cookie, would you like to come to the fights with me? Yeah.
Oh, heavens to Petrillo. My wife is going out with the baby, and I must stay home.
You're as henpecked as Harry. Just because your wife is going out with a baby, you have to stay home alone?
Oh, not alone. She got a sitter for me.
A sitter? Wait a minute. Every night, Mrs. Von Zell goes out and poor Harry is locked in with the baby? Cookie, you've given me an idea. I'm going over to see Harry.
Rock-a-bye baby on the treetop. Wish Mom was here instead of your pop. I should go out to the fight. But when I'd get back, she'd be in the hall. Down would come Harry, cradle and all.
Oh, Harry!
What? Hello, Eddie.
Harry, get your hat. You're going with me and enjoy the fights.
What are you saying? What about the baby?
Don't worry about little Harry. I called the baby bureau, and they're sending over a sitter.
Oh. A sitter?
A sitter.
A sitter is
Yes.
coming here to spring me. I'll be able to walk out of here a free man. Free, 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 do you hear? I'll be able to take my place in society again.
Coming next week to your neighborhood theater. I've already reserved 2 ringside seats, Harry. As soon as the sitter gets here. I'll get it. Well, Humphrey Bogart.
Hey, Cantor.
Yeah?
Where you getting your babysitters from?
Humphrey, you're the babysitter the bureau sent?
Yeah, I just muscled into this racket to get a little experience on taking care of babies. You see, me and Lauren are expecting a stork in January.
Did you say in January?
Yeah, next January 15th. I already printed up the cards.
But, Bogey, you shouldn't have printed the date. You can't always tell about those things.
Listen, that stork better show up January 15th or he's a dead duck.
Look, pardon me for eavesdropping, Mr. Bogart, but you are not taking care of my baby.
What's the matter? The baby bureau thinks I got enough experience, so they sent me here on my first case.
Well, if this is your first case, how did you get experience as a babysitter?
And for 2 weeks, they had me doing it with a dighty doll.
Well, no, look, I was expecting them to send a woman to sit with my baby.
And what's wrong with a man? You know, my Uncle Charlie was a sitter. Of course, poor Uncle Charlie ain't around anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. What happened?
While he was sitting, the warden pulled the switch.
Harry, look, Harry. We don't want to miss the fights. Maybe Bogart will be all right. He likes children. He's going to have a baby of his own.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. You see, that's the idea, Vonzel. Before I handle my own kid, I'd like to practice with yours.
What? Practice? Yeah. Well, you're not taking care of my baby.
Who says I ain't?
Who says you ain't? I says you ain't. I just ain't sold on you as a babysitter.
Not sold, huh? Well, let me give you a little sales talk. Quote. Unquote.
Your salesmanship is winning me over. I'm practically sold. Harry, who says he ain't?
Oh, fine. Listen, you may weaken Eddie, but not me. It's my baby, and I'm... Bogart, sir. You get this straight. I'm not going to hire you. What are your rates?
I don't want any money. Taking care of the kid will be a pleasure.
Oh, well, now it's still a job. I think you ought to take something.
Oh, don't worry. When you leave, I'll look around.
Now, you see...
The baby's crying. I'll see what I can do to quiet him down.
Yeah, look at Bogey. You'll find a box of powder on the bureau.
Yeah, what do I need with powder if I don't look good enough for the kid the way I am? He can get another sitter.
No, it's not for you. You're supposed to dust the baby with that powder.
Yeah? See the way they pamper kids nowadays. When I was a baby, they never dusted me with no powder.
Oh? What did they dust you with?
Dust. Maybe I can quiet him down by rocking his crib. Yeah. Rock-a-bye, baby, on the treetop. When you hear sirens, jiggers the cop.
Jiggers? Humphrey, did the stork bring you, or was it a patrol wagon?
Look at Junior. Isn't he cute, Mr. Bogart? You know, he's an incubator baby.
Incubator? Hey, wait a minute. I know I'm a sitter. But if that kid ain't hatched enough already, I'm quitting.
Wait a minute. Bogey, please don't quit now. Please don't.
Oh, I was only fooling, Eddie. Well, if I don't give this infant all my love and care, I'd be a traitor to the oath I took, the babysitter's creed.
I don't get the babysitter's creed?
Yeah, I was sworn in today when I graduated as a babysitter. As I accepted my three-cornered sheepskin, all eyes were upon me.
Sitter Bogart, sit down and take the oath.
I pledge allegiance to the babysitter's creed, to the principles for which I stand, and to the baby for which I sit. One baby, indivisible, with safety pins and talcum powder for all.
Furthermore, you solemnly promise that before feeding the baby...
I will wash and scrub my hands far beyond the call of duty.
And after the feeding...
I promise to place the baby over my shoulder, pat it on the back, and wait. No matter how long it takes.
When the parents go out, leaving you and the baby alone in their house...
I promise to limit my long-distance phone calls to the United States and its possessions.
At all times, the sitter must be gentle and understanding. If the baby bites you...
I will never bite him back.
If the baby will not sleep while you are busy playing phonograph records, you will not reprimand him. Instead,
I will quietly spike his pablum with Ovaltine.
Humphrey Bogart, I now pronounce you a full-fledged babysitter. You may join your fellow graduates and recite the school motto.
Onward together, never to split. Divided we fall, united we sit.
Well, Eddie, look, I think we can trust Mr. Bogart with the baby while we're at the fights. Have we got good seats?
Ringside, Harry. My regular Friday night seats. Here are the 2 tickets. Put them in your pocket. I always keep forgetting them. Now hurry and heat the baby's milk. Then we'll go.
Hold it, Harry. I want to talk to you private. Eddie, you go in the kitchen and heat the milk for the baby.
But I'm going to the fight. You're the sitter, Humphrey. If there's anything to do for the baby, what makes you think you can elect me for the job? I accept the nomination. Gosh, baby, it took me 20 minutes to fill your bottle with hot milk. It isn't easy squeezing milk through this little hole in the nipple. Harry! Baby, where's your father? Oh, he must be showing Bogart around the house. Gee, we're going to be late for the fight. Do you mind if I turn on the radio and see what's doing?
Here we are at the Hollywood Legion Stadium. In a few minutes, the main event will take place. At the ringside, there are many celebrities. I'd like you to meet a gentleman who is sitting in one of Eddie Cantor's regular Friday night ringside seats.
Sounds familiar. I'd like to hear that laugh just once more.
This is Harry Von Zell, folks.
What a double-crosser. While I heat the milk, he sneaks out and leaves me alone with the baby and Humphrey Bogart.
Folks, I'd like you to meet a great pal who's here at the fight with me.
This is Humphrey Bogart. We regret to announce that our pal Eddie Cantor won't be with us tonight because he has just become a mother.
You hear it everywhere. At quaint sidewalk cafes in New Orleans.
Yes, sir. Finest beer served anywhere.
At LaGuardia Airport in New York City.
Yes, sir. Finest beer served anywhere.
At logging camps in Oregon.
Yes, sir. Finest beer served anywhere.
At Texas roundups.
Yes, sir. Finest beer served anywhere.
Yes, sir. You hear it everywhere. Finest beer served anywhere. Blended, splendid Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. The century-old international favorite. The beer that always tastes exactly the same. Not too heavy, not too light. But fresh, clean, sparkling. With the real beer flavor coming through just the way you like it. Wherever you go, all over America, you'll find that Pabst Blue Ribbon beer is served in distinguished homes. Homes like the F. Warren Pershings of Narragansett, the Angier Biddle Dukes of Southampton, the homes of Jonathan Wainwright, hero of Corregidor, the Bob Hopes, Gregory Pecks, Gary Coopers, and many others. Yes, you hear it everywhere. Pabst Blue Ribbon, finest beer served anywhere. The reason?
33 fine brews blended into one great beer. You hear it everywhere. Finest beer served.
Eddie.
Yes, Dinah?
Eddie, I want to ask you, what's that blue book on the piano?
Well, Dinah, I call that my social register of blue ribbon songs.
Social register?
Yes, those grand old tunes of the Tin Pan Alley's 400, the very best. Take a look inside. Look at the sheet music here.
Oh, I'd love to. Oh, look, for the light of the silvery moon. Sunbonnet Sue. Yes, sir, that's my baby. Oh, and here's a music copy way down yonder in New Orleans. Who's that pretty girl on the cover, Eddie?
Well, that's Blossom Seeley, who introduced the song. She's the settled-down wife of Benny Fields now. But how she wowed them at the old palace when she sang, way down yonder in New Orleans, in that land of dreamy scenes, there's a Garden of Eden. That's what I mean. Creole babies with flashing eyes softly whisper with tender sighs, stop. Won't you give your lady fair a little smile? Stop. You bet your life you'll linger there a little while. It's a heaven right here on earth with those beautiful queens way down yonder in New Orleans.
Eddie, you ought to be ashamed of of yourself.
You mean the way I sang that song?
No, I mean the way you're always making jokes about Al Jolson's age. Here's a picture of him on this music right here, and he's so handsome.
Well, Dinah.
And so young.
Dinah.
What?
Look at the date, 1912. Wait a minute, I think it's 1812. Say, you know something? Jolson looks in that picture like I look now.
Eddie?
I think.
Well, anyway, Al Jolson's still a great favorite of mine. So's this song. You made me love you. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. You made me love you. And all the time you knew it, I guess you always knew it. You made me happy sometimes. You made me glad. But there were times, dear, made me feel so bad. You made me cry, for I didn't want to tell you, I didn't want to tell you. I want your love, that's true, yes, I do, indeed I do, you know I do. Give me what I cry for. Got the kisses that you know I'd die for. You know you made me love you.
Don't laugh, Dinah. Don't laugh, honey, but take a gander at this, will you?
Oh, it's a song copy of Stumbling. And look at that poor, skinny little fella. Eddie, it's a picture of you.
That's right. In the flesh, but not much of it. And look, Dinah, look at that high, tight collar I wore. It almost choked me.
Now I know what made your eyes pop.
Anyway, Dinah, here's the way I sang that song in the Schubert show, The Midnight Rounders. Stumbling all around, stumbling all around, stumbling all around. So funny. Stumbling here and there, stumbling everywhere. And I must declare, I stepped right on her toes. And when she bumped my nose, I fell, and when I rose, I felt ashamed. And told her, that's the latest step, that's the latest step, that's the latest step. My honey, notice all the pep, notice all the pep, notice all the pep. She said, stop mumbling, though you are stumbling. I like it just a little bit, just a little bit, quite a little bit. Oh, Dinah, darling, this song you must do, just for me. It made a great star out of a girl who to this day is still one of the greatest stars. One of my favorite girls, too. I'll never forget that night. The Ziegfeld Follies of 1922 and Fanny Brice singing.
Oh, my man, I love him so. He'll never know. All my life is just despair. But I don't care when he takes me in his arms. The world is bright, all right. What's the difference if I say I'll go away when I know I'll come back on my knees someday? Oh, whatever my man is, I am his
Dinah, we ought to do that more often, honey.
I'd
I'll
love
show you.
to.
Thanks, and thanks to you, Humphrey Bogart. We'll be looking forward to your starring role in your own Santa Ana production of Knock on Any Door and listening to you on the Prudential Family of Stars. We'll be back next Friday, all of us. In the meantime, remember, I love to spend each Friday with you.
This program is brought to you by the Pabst Brewing Company of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Newark, New Jersey, and Peoria, Illinois. Sent your way with the best wishes of the Pabst Blue Ribbon dealers from coast to coast.
Good night, everybody.
This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
That was the Eddie Cantor Show with special guest Humphrey Bogart, as originally aired October 8th, 1948. And lastly, on Classic Radio Rewind is a great sci-fi series, Dimension X. A return to the surface, a story of genetic imperfection. Cast includes radio veterans Nancy Olson, Santos Ortega. This is Dimension X with Hello Tomorrow, as originally heard September 15th, 1950.
Adventures in time and space, told in future tense.
Dimension X.
Tonight, a story of the future and a star of the future. The story, Hello Tomorrow, and the star, Miss Nancy Olson, the talented young actress who is currently winning critical acclaim for her performance in one of the outstanding pictures of the year, Sunset Boulevard. Tonight, Miss Olson becomes the first of a group of the stage and screen's most promising young stars of tomorrow to be invited to appear on the program of tomorrow, Dimension X. It was in the year 1991 that man disappeared from the face of the earth. The third atomic war had ended at last, leaving the land a mass of red radioactive dust, filling the air with gamma rays so deadly that life on the surface was no longer possible. There was only one way out. The few survivors went underground, burrowing their way deep into the earth like hunted moles, hiding from death in huge underground caverns. And it was there in the next 2,000 years that they built the new civilization. A civilization in which the genetic survival of the race came first, and every life and every law was shaped to serve that end. It is to this civilization, in the year of our Lord 4195 A.D., that we take you now.
Yes?
I have a call from the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong for Professor Lois Burton at the Institute of Genetics.
This is Professor Burton.
One moment. Go ahead, sir. Lois? Listen, darling, good news.
What?
The Genetic Board has approved our application for marriage.
Oh, so soon?
The tests found our chromosomes perfect. We can marry any time we want. Our offspring should be genetically in the 19th percentile of perfection. What's the matter, dear?
Oh, nothing. I'm just sort of breathless.
You are happy about it, aren't you, darling?
Oh, of course, terribly happy.
I'm coming right over to the lab. I have a surprise.
Oh, not now, Walter.
What?
Well, I mean, you'll have to give me some time.
Time? What's the trouble?
No trouble. It's that genetic survey I've been working on.
What about it?
Well, I've finally gotten permission to study an actual living case, a specimen of imperfect genetic transmission.
Really?
Yes, they're bringing him up from the condemned cages on the lower level.
You will be careful, darling.
The supervisor says there's nothing to be afraid of. The specimen they're bringing is XJ12. It's been studied before many times and is quite well trained.
Well, I don't like it.
Nonsense, darling. I've been waiting for this opportunity for years. Oh, there's my door signal. I'll have to hang up, darling. See you later. Yes?
Professor Lois Burton?
Yes?
I'm from the Phylogenic Institute, lower level.
Oh, then you brought me specimen XJ12.
May I come in?
By all means. Oh, how?
Horrible? It all depends on your viewpoint. I happen to have a twisted leg. My parents were genetically unsound.
But then you...
Yes. I am specimen XJ12.
I see.
I hope you aren't shocked.
No stable person permits feelings to enter into his work. I will admit to surprise. I was expecting something a little more, abnormal.
Sorry, I try to be as abnormal as possible. If I am, the Phylogenic Institute allows me out of the genetic cages every so often, so I can breathe the pure air of the upper levels and mingle with the genetically perfect.
You seem quite well educated.
I spent the first years of my life here in the upper levels.
How is that possible? They segregate imperfects.
As a small child, my mother concealed me from the director of selective heredity. I was brought up in secret. My mother actually, dreadful word, loved me.
I see. That would explain your obviously low threshold of emotional control.
You choose to call it that. At first, you seemed to be struggling to repress a few feelings yourself.
We will confine ourselves to the impersonal aspects of our work.
As you please.
I shall require you as a demonstration for a lecture I'm delivering to one of my classes tomorrow.
At your service, Professor.
Sit here, please. Grip these electrodes tightly. I'm going to calibrate your electrochemical tension.
I'm quite familiar with the procedure. Oh! I realize that as an imperfect, I'm expendable. But I should hate to be electrocuted.
The charge is not lethal. Plus 15 surface tension.
You know, you have beautiful hair.
Plus 12 at a depth of 4 centimeters.
Lovely blue eyes. Crystal clear.
Plus 10 at 7 centimeters.
Pretty. A perfect woman. Lovely, expressive hands. And a heart of stone. Like all the rest of you perfect survival types.
Try not to jump, sir, when the current strikes.
No feelings. Under control. Passed by the director of emotional stability.
Shut up!
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you have feelings.
That will be quite enough. I seem to sense an air of emotional tension.
Nothing, dear. This is a specimen XJ12.
Oh, I see. An inferior type.
Quite.
You, specimen. Can you understand me?
Yes.
Yes, what? Tell this dolt who I am, Lois.
This is a director of emotional stability for the third oblong. He also happens to be my selected genetic partner. You will address him as Sir.
Yes, sir.
This creature seems quite impertinent.
He's only a specimen, darling.
I suppose. We'll use him and ship him back to the cages at the Institute. He's probably radioactive. You, specimen.
Mr. Director?
You will confine your speech to answering only those questions addressed to you. Understand?
Yes, sir. Perfectly.
Attention. The next demonstration will be conducted by Professor Lois Burton of the Institute of Genetics. Her topic, the probability of radioactive damage in the chromosome heredity of imperfect non-survival types. Professor Burton.
We are very fortunate today in having obtained a specimen of an imperfect genetic type through the good graces of the Phylogenic Institute. Moreover, this specimen has been trained to tell in his own words about the factors in his upbringing. Specimen XJ12.
Thank you. My mother was a psychotechnician in the 5th oblong. My father was a historian specializing in the records of pre-atomic surface culture. In the earthquake of 2170, apparently some hard radiation filtered down through the tunnels and penetrated the 5th oblong. The effect on my hereditary factors is quite apparent in this twisted leg. I appreciate that you do not laugh. Most audiences seem compelled to laugh. Perhaps you are different. If so, perhaps you can be made to understand somehow what it means to be labeled an imperfect. Perhaps in some way I can penetrate the insulation with which the psychotechnicians, the drugs, and the glandular experts have surrounded your emotions.
Wait. As director of emotional stability for this oblong, I order you to confine yourself to the subject.
My father taught me in the last days before he was executed that every human personality is born with certain inalienable natural rights. The right of free expression, the right to have feelings, and the right to mature, and above all, the right to be different from every other living organism, because every organism is different. I submit to you, distinguished students, that the attempt by this society to abridge these rights is a violation of nature. I say that the imperfects, the mutants, those who are different have as much right to exist and be free as you. I say break open the cages. Free my people. Stop him. Give us back the right to be individuals. Stop him. I say...
Professor Burton, take this specimen back to your laboratory and confine him.
Yes, Mr. Director.
You, specimen, go quietly, I warn you.
I have nothing but contempt for your warnings.
I'll have you destroyed for this.
The specimen is unstable. He doesn't know what he's saying.
Then get him out of here, quickly. He's an affront to our genetic type.
Hold still while I bandage your head. He'll be all right.
I suppose you detest me for getting you into trouble.
Don't squirm.
Not that I blame you.
I don't detest you. In fact, I thought you quite magnificent.
You what?
As you spoke, something began to stir in me.
You don't hate me.
I've never felt so strange.
Tell me what you feel. If I moved you, then I must have moved the others, some of them at least.
I don't know quite how to explain it. A strange sympathy.
Compassion.
For some reason, I took pride in what you were doing. Seeing you stand up against them. Why do you look at me like that?
Because I can't help it.
I wish you wouldn't. You're only an imperfect, you know. You have no rights. Please, XJ12.
My name is Orrin.
Please.
Say it. Orrin.
Orrin?
Again.
Orrin.
Lois.
Orrin.
Lois.
What is it? Why do I feel this way?
In the cages, they call it love.
Love? We have no such concept in the upper levels.
You've destroyed it.
Would it be correct to say, I feel love for you?
It would be correct.
I feel love for you.
Darling. Lois, what about Walter? You're going to marry him.
No.
You're genetically suited to each other.
I don't care. I won't marry him. There must be some other way.
But...
Walter.
Very touching. Very tender.
Walter, how could you spy?
In my capacity as Director of Emotional Stability, it is my duty to spy. Specimen XJ12 will be disposed of quite systematically by the state. For the good of the state. For the good of the genetic code. And in the name of emotional stability. Come in, Lois. I wondered how long it would be before you came to my office.
Walter, I have to talk to you.
Go right ahead.
Walter, you mustn't destroy him. Send him back to the cages, but don't kill him.
You speak of destroying an inferior creature as if it was something unethical.
Walter, please, for my sake.
Lois, I understand that you've entered a plea for postponement of our marriage at the Records Bureau.
Yes, I was too upset to go through with it.
It came as a great disappointment to me. If you were married to me, you would be safe from influences such as this XJ12. In which case, I might even be persuaded to send him back to the cages instead of having him destroyed. You see?
Yes, I see.
Think it over. Well, my dear?
When can we be married?
Soon. Tomorrow, if you like.
The sooner the better.
Lois. Lois, you make me very...
What about XJ12?
Oh, I see. A bargain is a bargain. Let me talk to the custodian, please. Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. I would like you to cancel the execution of specimen XJ12. Yes. Yes, that's right. Turn him over to the security guard. He's to be remanded permanently to the genetic cages.
Let me talk to him, Walter.
My dear, I don't think
Please,
that...
I want to be sure he's all right.
Very well. Hello. Connect a circuit in the cell block. I want to talk to XJ12. Here you are, my dear.
Hello? Orrin? Yes. No, I'm all right. How are you? Fine. I've been talking to Walter. He's going to send you back to the cages. Yes. Yes. No. No, I'm going to marry him. Because I want to. I'm not lying to you. I'm very happy. Yes. Yes, I've got to hang up now. Goodbye. Goodbye.
And now, Lois.
Walter, please. I've got to get back to the lab.
Of course. I'll pick you up in, say, an hour, and we'll make plans for the wedding. All right?
Yes. Yes, of course. Goodbye, Walter.
Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability again. I want you to cancel that last order. Proceed with the execution, but under conditions of absolute secrecy. No. Don't use the lethal chamber. Take him to the tunnels on the upper level. That's correct. Fine.
This way.
Where are you taking me?
You're being returned to the Philogenic Institute. Orders from the Director of Emotional Stability. Into the elevator.
Very well. Why are we going toward the surface? The cages are on the lower levels.
Radiation check.
They've never done that before.
New procedure. All right. Walk.
Hawk, state your business.
I'm the custodian for the Third Oblong. This imperfect is my prisoner.
You can't go beyond this checkpoint. There's radioactivity in the tunnels.
This is a special mission, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I see. Just a moment, I'll open the airlock. Go ahead. You'll find 2 radiation suits in the chamber.
We will need only one.
So this is how they get rid of imperfects.
March inside. All right. Turn around.
Suppose I refuse.
It'll be less painful if you cooperate.
Before you dispose of me, could I give you a message for a friend?
That depends. What is the message? Security! Help! Security!
What is it? What happened?
The prisoner, he struck me. Before I could recover, he escaped into the tunnels.
Well, he won't last long. If the radiation doesn't get him, he'll starve to death.
Can you go after him?
I could send a robot, but it isn't worth the trouble. There's no way back from the tunnels except through here. Only other direction he can go is toward the surface. The closer he gets, the hotter the radiation. No, I think you can consider your prisoner dead.
More wine, my dear?
No, thank you, Walter.
You look very beautiful, my dear. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
These hydroponic fruits are delicious, aren't they? Oh, The wedding will just be a small affair. I've arranged for a few friends, the director of endocrine control, the chief of the security guards, one or two assistants to high council members.
Walter,
Yes?
was he returned to the cages?
Now, why must you spoil this lovely dinner by bringing that up?
Was he, Walter?
Well...
Was he?
Well, as a matter of fact, there was a little difficulty.
Difficulty?
Yes, you see, he escaped.
Escaped?
He struck a guard and ran off into the tunnels.
The tunnels? But that's death.
He's free to return anytime he chooses.
When did it happen?
Just a few hours ago, as a matter of fact.
Walter.
Now, don't become upset again, darling.
You planned it, didn't you, Walter?
Stability, darling. Stability.
Stability. Stability. Is that all I'm to hear from you for the rest of my life?
Darling.
Here's what I think of stability.
Were we not to be married, I'd be compelled to turn you over to the endocrine surgeons for doing that.
Well, you can go right ahead, because we aren't going to be married.
Checkpoint.
This is the director of emotional security.
Yes, sir.
If Professor Burton tries to pass the checkpoint, I want her taken into custody.
Well, Professor Burton just passed, sir. She said
You idiot.
But she said
I don't care what she said. Stop her. Send robots after her. Get her back. I'll have you destroyed as incompetent if you fail.
Yes, sir, at once, sir. Robot control. Checkpoint to robot control. Order out all televocal robots into the tunnels. Have them bring back any humans. This is a first priority order.
Oren, where are you? Oren.
Hello?
Oren, it's Lois.
This way. Behind the rocks. Over here.
Oh, darling.
Lois, why did you come here? It's suicide.
I had to. Darling, are you all right?
So far.
You've got to turn back. Give yourself up.
They'll kill me.
You can't stay here. The radiation is +4 at this point. It gets worse as you approach the surface.
Go back, darling.
What will you do?
I'm going ahead.
But you can't.
I can. I'm going to the surface.
Not even the robots can survive it.
At least I'll be the first human in 1,100 years to see what the surface of the Earth looks like.
Come back with me.
No, darling.
Then I'm going with you.
Lois.
Don't try to stop me, darling. There's nothing to go back to now. Nothing but Walter and emotional stability.
Lois, you really want to come with me?
Yes.
You know what it means.
I don't care.
Oh, darling, I can't let you go.
Oren, I love you. See, I know how to say it now.
Say it again.
Oren, I love you.
Lois, what's that?
Sounds... Oh, Oren, it's the robot control. It's looking for us.
Come on, we've got to hurry. This way, hurry.
Oren, wait.
It can't be much further, darling.
The robot is gaining.
Here, let me help you.
I just can't.
All right, darling. We'll stop here. We may as well wait for it.
Oh, Oren, it's coming. I can see its light now.
Darling, listen. It stopped.
The lights are swinging around. Oren, it sees us.
Come on, darling. One last effort. Come on, run. Look ahead. You can see the lights reflecting from something.
It looks like a door.
It is. No, it's a heavy lead door.
There's a lever. Hurry.
Come on through. Lois, there must be some way to close it. Here.
Let me help you.
It won't get through that. It's solid lead.
Oren, where are we?
I don't know.
Look. Up there. A huge round light.
Lois,
Yes, Oren?
that's Luna. The moon. We're on the surface.
How red everything looks. How it glows.
It's the radioactivity.
Quiet. Peaceful. Deadly.
Oh, darling. Sit here and rest a while.
Put your arm around me. Oren, I'm afraid. Oren, we're going to die.
Don't think about it. Just think about us alone. The first humans to stand on the surface of Earth in 2,000 years. Lois, that door must have been placed there by the last handful of survivors who went underground after the atomic wars. Those other lights, the small ones, they must be stars.
Oren, I'm so tired.
Go to sleep, darling. Put your head on my shoulder and sleep.
Hold me, Oren. Hold me very close. Oren. Oren, wake up.
What is it?
Look, it's light. What? The whole universe is light. Oh, Oren, how beautiful. Look.
By all the laws of nature, we should be dead. Lois, no life could survive this.
By all the laws of nature. Oren.
What is it?
We're not dead. This is Earth and we're alive. We're not going to die.
But the radiation, it's present. You can see its effects.
Oren, did you ever hear of adaptation?
What?
There is a natural law of adaptation by which an organism will try to adjust itself to its environment by changing. It's called a geotropism.
I don't see what that has to do with...
All these generations, we've been bombarded by radiation filtering down through the Earth. Each successive generation must have inherited some degree of immunity to the effects of radiation.
And you think that...
Oren, it can't hurt us. Don't you see? We're immune. We're probably the first generation to inherit sufficient immunity.
But if that's true, then we can transmit that immunity. We can pass it along to our children.
Come on, darling. We'll have to find food and water.
The practical wife. Oh, wait a minute, darling.
What are you doing with that rock?
I want to scratch something on the outside of this lead door.
Lois and Oren.
4195. A.D.
Hello, tomorrow.
Tonight, Dimension X, the program of the future, has introduced a new star of the future, Miss Nancy Olson. Miss Olson appeared by courtesy of Paramount Pictures and may currently be seen in their production, Sunset Boulevard. Next week on Dimension X, the strange and sinister story of Dr. Grimshaw's Sanitarium.
Tonight, Dimension X has transcribed Hello Tomorrow, written by George Lefferts. Appearing with Nancy Olson were Santos Ortega as Walter and Donald Buca as Oren. Your narrator was Norman Rose. Music by Albert Berman. Engineer Bill Chambers. Dimension X is produced by Van Woodward and directed by Edward King.
From September 15th, 1950, that was Dimension X with Hello Tomorrow. I'll be right back in just a moment. Welcome back to Classic Radio Rewind, a programming note reminder for you to set your calendar for the return of Old Time Radio USA's annual Labor Day Dragnet Marathon. That's right, join Old Time Radio USA and Sergeant Joe Friday to celebrate your Labor Day holiday. Sunday evening, September 1st with a 6 p.m. Eastern Time start time. This is only on Old Time Radio USA. Listening to this marathon will be super easy. You can listen on our website at www.wotrradionetwork.com. And if you don't want to be stuck in the front of your computer, if you have a Roku streaming box, I would highly recommend you install the WOTR Radio Network channel for your Roku streaming device to enjoy from the comfort of your living room or wherever your Roku device may be. Not at home? Make sure you have the WOTR Radio Network mobile app for the Android and Apple devices. So you see, there is no reason for you to miss out on this annual end-of-summer Labor Day Marathon celebration. And it's only on Old Time Radio USA. Coming up next week on Classic Radio Rewind, we are going to hear from the Cisco Kid, Father Knows Best, The Sealed Book, and Murder by Experts. So don't you miss out on next week's Classic Radio Rewind, as it will be another great... So don't you miss out on next week's Classic Radio Rewind, as it will be another great 2 hours of classic old-time radio entertainment. And with that brings this edition of Classic Radio Rewind to a close. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you click subscribe in your favorite podcast app to be notified of newly released episodes. And join us next week for more from the golden age of radio. And until then, this is Barry Slinker saying goodbye for now.
Classic Radio Rewind is a production of the WOTR Radio Network. For more Classic Radio Rewind, and to listen to any of the WOTR Radio Network stations, go to www.wotrradionetwork.com.